Welcome back, everybody, to our podcast. We are talking about episode 5 of season 1 of Online Survival. Fan Guy hitting us with our tribal dance. We're going to start similar but different this week. I want you guys to say who went up and who went down, but you can give a reason as to why, because we're going to do something different at the end. We'll go ahead and start with Mike this week. Who went up for you? Who went down?
I think Elizabeth went down, and it's up is gonna be. I'm gonna say Alex.
Yeah, I can give reasons as for why this time.
All right. So Elizabeth attempted to go for Meg and failed, and it's still here. I try and avoid giving the Buddhas down for obvious reasons. They're gone. So,
yeah.
But Elizabeth went, I think, down because she went for Meg and didn't have Dot follow her on that path, and she just didn't have the pull to get it done. And well, I don't think Meg is the person you want to piss off right now, so I've got her down for that reason. And Alex, he set out a target and he accomplished it. He won immunity when he very well may have needed it. As far as the merits of his choice of target can be discussed later, but he got what he wanted done, and that's a positive. And now he's made the merge where people can shine, perhaps with individual immunity skills.
That guy who went up and down for you.
I mean, I agree with Mike there on both of those assessments, actually, 100%. But just to keep it different, I'll say that Q went down and that Meg went up. And for a lot of the same reasonings, almost. I mean, Q basically just had her best ally in the game, her closest ally in the game out. That's always going to lower your stock and send you in a little bit more of a state of panic, because now she also is, now there's a merge coming, so that changes everything. But if there wasn't, she's on the minority of that team now in terms of a voting block. So I think she's absolutely lost some of the control she had by losing her closest ally. So I would say her stock's definitely down. And Meg got Dot to kind of prove his loyalty, if you will, this week, and solidified her lead on top of that other side, and got rid of, I think obviously Elizabeth going would have been better for Meg, but she got what she wanted in terms of not her. Because both teams had the chance to do the same thing. One chose to take the shot, one didn't.
It's been who went up for you, who went down, and why.
I'm a piggyback off of both of them and say Meg and Alex both went up for me because they just pulled some boss ass moves. I mean, like, I just feel like they doing boss shit right now. I mean, Alex, he jumped like probably 2 notches. I ain't gonna lie. He pulled that shit out, and I was impressed, and I love that. And Meg, she just got the Meg Mafia, man. I don't know. You can't touch her right now. She is like untouchable. So yeah, she pretty on the up and up for me. And who went down was probably Elizabeth. That had to be the worst fail of going after somebody I ever seen. I don't know what even gave her the idea that Dot was even gonna go for that. Yeah, that kind of just threw me off. So yeah, that's where it's at for me.
Dazed.
My down is both Q and Elizabeth, kind of for the same reason. Any allies that they had left are pretty much non-existent, and I think it's going to be a real struggle once they get to the merge, trying to develop any sort of power to back them up if they want to make a move. And it really hurts Q even more because she's one-track mind on Meg, and that's going to hurt her in the long run. Going up, both Alex and Patty. First off, Alex made some crazy good moves this last episode, and he now has that relationship with Patty. It looks like Patty has a relationship building with Rayleigh. They can bring in Dee Dee. That's numbers on their side that can potentially go after this already solidified alliance that's on the other side, which they're going to need to do. So
This week we'll go ahead and start with just where the episode started, and that was with Dee Dee the monster, who is pissed off at Alex for voting for her after she told him that she saved him, basically, which she did. Aspen, your thoughts on that? Should Dee Dee be as mad with Alex as she is?
No, but I thought it was funny. Yeah, she like, you wrote the monster. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, I didn't know you had it in you, Dee Dee. Let me pipe down a little bit. But is she really gonna come through with it though? You know, like she just seemed too nice. I don't know if that's just me, but she don't seem like she got a monster in her. So yeah, I want to see this monster. What is she gonna really do? You know?
There's another dynamic to this. Patty was happy that Dee Dee was not voted out, showing that they do have something developed there. Fan Guy, your thoughts on that? Or Dee Dee the monster?
I mean, both. I mean, yeah, no, Dee Dee the monster was very awesome and entertaining. She shouldn't be as mad as at Alex, but it goes to show you when people vote for you in these games, you take it personally, especially off top. If you don't have time to process it, like immediately after it happens, you're gonna like have something to say about it. Maybe after a little bit of time to think about it, she might feel differently. It really, to me, it depends on if it comes out that he was kind of told to do that by Q and Carrie. I think that bit of information is huge that Alex chose to not really divulge. And if that information comes out, I think it's going to save some of Alex's street cred with Dee Dee. And she's going to realize that maybe it was Q and Carrie that were kind of out to get her and not so much Alex. As far as Patty, man, Patty's like, what can you say about Mr. Essential Oils? He's just the dude. I'm glad he decided to go with the power move. You know, it shows that Patty's not completely oblivious to the game. So I like to see that from Pat. I like to see that from Patty. You know, he's in it. He's in it.
Days, Mike, any thoughts on the dynamics of Team One at the start of the episode?
I said this in our last podcast that Alex needed to make amends with Dee Dee as soon as possible. And when Dee Dee said that, it was at the beginning of the episode. So I'm assuming this was right after, like the night after the elimination or whatever. So I don't know if we've really seen him get a chance to talk to her one-on-one, or if that. Oh yeah, that's right. So he still has a chance to do so, and I think he has to, like Fan Guy said, he does have to explain that he was really forced into that position. Like he had no other choice at the time.
Mike, any thoughts on Team One?
I actually think Dee Dee is completely in the right to be pissed off. I mean, like, look at it just on paper. You put your neck out to save Alex over Ori, and how do you get repaid? They vote you. I mean, Ori did too, but I'd still be upset at the fact that I'm working to save you and you're voting me. Like, that's the one experience I've had with you. That's your word, and you voted me. Like, I completely understand where she's coming from, and I don't think you can blame her at all. And I just think that, yeah, I think there is something there between Dee Dee and Patty that goes like into their own weird way of strategy where they want to work with each other without explicitly saying it, kind of. So yeah, I think it's pretty close.
So over on Team Two, there's a lot going on at the start of the episode. Dot's trying to talk to Jake about their alliance, finally getting a chance to really talk about that with Jake. Meg's seeing that Carrie with a C is on the bottom, and then Elizabeth's trying to get Hassan, trying to pick his mind to see if he would vote out Meg. Any thoughts on this dynamic, Days?
Not particularly. I do think Hassan is holding his cards pretty close, not making any real waves. I think that's going to benefit him in the long run. But he's going to have to give an opinion at some point, and it really comes down to what he says to whom, and it's either going to make or break his game, I think, when he picks sides.
Fanga, you were shaking your head when I was mentioning Elizabeth. Thoughts on that?
It wasn't that conversation. It was a little bit later that I was thinking of. It was a conversation with her and Meg and Jake that I just was shaking my head about Elizabeth. She sealed. I mean, short and sweet. Elizabeth put the nail in her own coffin this week. Like, period. That's what she did. because the mafia is out to get her now. Like, and when the mafia's got their eyes set on you, you get whacked. That's what's gonna happen.
Mike, what were your thoughts on Elizabeth's attempts?
Well, she fell short. It was like, I can't blame her at all. I mean, take the shot. You always take the shot when you can. She really had no real way of knowing that Dot was super close to Meg and Jake, and that is at the end of the day what saved Meg is Dot and the prior connection. But she didn't know. I mean, you can't really blame her. Like, on paper, now you take the shot at the big tribe that's left, and I can't blame her at all. It just she got screwed by these cross tribal messages, and it is what it is.
Yeah, strategically it was great. I mean, she made the proper move doing what she did to try to get that group together. 100%.
Yeah, I think it was definitely respectable because if you're going to play this game, you might as well play the game if you're going to be in it. Aspen, do you think that Hassan would have, if he wasn't sent to exile, do you think he would have voted for Meg, or do you think he's about not making waves?
No, he ride in the middle too hard, and or Mike or Days just said, it's gonna catch up to him. He gonna have to pick a side, and it's like, I don't know. It's almost hard to watch. It's like, bro, like, do something, Like, I'm so like, I want to wring his neck or something to make him like, make some waves. But I don't think he making no waves. I don't even think he trying to get in a boat.
Any other thoughts on this? Team 2, any thoughts on Dot and Jake's conversation? Fan guy, do you think they tightened it up a little?
I was actually just rewatching this, and one of my typical takeaways from rewatching it the second time was actually that Jake was very quick to defend Meg. Like, he inserted Meg's name into that conversation very quickly. And I didn't notice it the first time I watched, but it was like Dot was saying, like, yeah, we got, and then Jake was like, and Meg. And I was like, wow, okay, well, that, I could see that being a very powerful trio moving forward, because it seems like they have the proper mentality, and you could see it in that conversation that they're going to be looking out for each other.
I think it's important to point out how subtle he is with his messages. Like, you didn't catch it the first time, and you have to really break down what he's saying to even use anything against him. Like, he's just really good at talking to people.
Yeah, he kind of got that slippery tongue like a snake do. So it's kind of.
It's a very dangerous trio.
Yeah. See, I didn't even catch that part until you just said it. I'm like, oh, okay, huh.
So moving on to the challenges, we'll start with Team 2. Jake won. You were right, fan guy. Do you think it was his D1 skills?
D1 snake, baby. The D1 snake. Yeah, I mean, it's quick reflexes. I mean, I don't know what he played, like I said, but you got to be competitive. You got to be, you got to have quick hand-eye coordination to play D1 competition. And yeah, absolutely. Jake's
probably a kicker.
So it is
probably a kicker. Had nothing to do with the helicopter game.
Right.
God.
Any thoughts about Alex winning for his team? Patty came in second, Days.
Yeah. I think in general, everybody kind of shit the bed on this competition because, first off, that helicopter game is hard. When I played it in our first season, like I had two different a phone and an iPad, and the iPad was going slower, and I thought I could cheat the system because the frame rate was lower. So like, you do anything you can to get an advantage of this game. It's another crapshoot. I don't care what you say, but everybody did horrible in this competition except for Jake and Alex and kind of Patty. I just hate it. Get rid of this competition, please.
We'll see. So there you have to pick who goes to exile. Aspen. Q is trying to get people to see about Meg and Jake and the cleaners. He wants to send Hassan. Was that the right choice?
Absolutely for her. Yeah, that was the perfect play for Q. I mean, Q is smart, man. It's like sick almost. Like this girl is so smart, and you can tell she's watched this game and she know how to play, and she's so quiet, and how she moves is just, I don't know. I mean, I really am. It's like, I don't know. She is quietly becoming my fan favorite, and mm, she persuades people in not too rough of a way. You know, like how Russell or other strong personalities in Survivor can be like too much when it comes to wanting you to vote their way. So I feel like she did it in her own little quiet, little sneaky way, and it worked. Nobody was like, "Oh my God, look at Q trying to do that." Nobody caught on. So props to her.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Q did the right thing for her game for sure. Which I think that was the strategy Mike had pointed out last week was that was going to be the optimal strategy to do here. And if you look at it, I mean, I don't mean to jump the gun. Both teams took the strategy to heart. They both did the right thing to try to weaken the majorities on each side. So it was the right play. Hassan, it depends on what you're trying to do. Like, I think what they were trying to do with getting Hassan out was leave the stronger players in their minds, Meg and Jake, in there for elimination possibilities. Yeah. But I also think the drawback to that is that because Meg and Jake also maybe have more alliances and seem more likable, you know, had you left Hassan in there, he might have been the cleaner that would have been targetable. Whereas Meg and Jake have too much protection because they're too much at the top. So, I mean, it could go either way there. I don't think it's a bad decision, but you know, looking at the way it turned out, who knows how it might have turned out had they gone with Meg or Jake instead of Hassan.
It helps them. They don't know about Dot being.
I mean, Meg is clearly the big organizer, right? So if you take her out of the equation, maybe they don't even get their stuff enough together to combat the plan that's coming up against them.
Like I said last week, this was the move, and it didn't pan out. But again, you have no way. These people, no one besides Dot, Jake, and Meg have a way to know about Dot, Jake, and Meg. So you can't blame anyone. Q's on it. She's like, "This is what you got to do." Alex just is like, "All right, Q, I'll do what you say." And I think that was the right decision for both of them. No need to cause waves. Alex doesn't really have a super strong stake, I guess, in Dunn anymore. So he didn't feel like he needed to protect them. Although this again is a way to protect them in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
Smart moves all around. Very impressive.
Was Dee the right choice on the other team, Mike?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of the same exact situation in reverse as you try and narrow that. I don't know if I don't remember if Carrie spilled beans about Patty and all this stuff. So if they knew Patty was an outsider, you keep him in, obviously. I don't remember, but yeah, no, again, same sort of strategy. You take out someone from the big super majority and hope the people otherwise can band together.
And you could almost argue that Hassan and Dee were in the same part of the hierarchy. They were kind of third outside of the primary duo. So it almost seems like both sides had the exact same logic to go for the exact same spot in the pecking order.
True. Well, we're going to start with Team 2 dynamics going into the vote. We will start with that conversation, Fan Guy, between Elizabeth, Meg, and Jake. And Elizabeth kind of letting it slip a little about her thoughts.
Yeah, this was absolutely what I was shaking my head at earlier was this conversation. You can't tell someone to their face that they're in target. Like, you just can't do that and expect it to go over very well. And, like, I get that she was trying to be subtle about it. You could see in her confessional after that she realized that she was like, perhaps I should have just directly lied about this. And I'm sitting there, yes, you absolutely. If someone says, who's your target? And that person's your target, you don't say you. Like, you just don't do it. You know, and she tried to find a way about it. Maybe a stronger player. But, yeah, I mean, there's like this many legal targets and you've just eliminated, you know, 2 of them. Like, what are you doing? So, yeah, no, Elizabeth completely shot herself in the foot here. And any chance that she had to, possibly cultivate relationships with the cleaner side moving forward is completely shot now.
Aspen, what do you think about that conversation? And how do you think Jake and Meg handled it? Should they have saw her as a bigger target than they did? I mean, they saw her as a big target, but they didn't really follow through with it.
Right. I mean, I kind of agree with him. Like, she ain't really making no noise, you know, like, but they are onto her. So, you know, like, they were already synced up just like that, you know. It's like, wow, y'all, I don't know, their relationship is like super tight, and they already knew, like, yep, we both want to go for her. And I'm like, wow. But I yeah, I really don't think Dot would have went for going for Elizabeth. I don't think so.
I think it's a good point also that I think the goal here is to get Dot as close to you as possible, and taking away a number from that trio in a sense brings him closer, because staying with Elizabeth, you're riding the ship down as it sinks. So I think overall it was a good move if that's your goal, trying to get Dot over to your side.
Mike, any thoughts on that whole dynamic between Elizabeth and her mistake?
I agree with Aspen's point that I don't think Dot would have went for Elizabeth. I think Elizabeth was correct in reading that, and it's like there are there are differing levels of loyalty. There's like people who will vote with you no matter what, and then there are people who won't target you, but they won't necessarily vote with you. And for now, I mean, she kind of misread the one kind of loyalty as another, I think. So she probably, and then she kind of just, I think, sometimes all it takes is a momentary lapse in judgment in that conversation where she was like, yeah, a stronger player, which is what she's thinking, without realizing she just gave up the game to the people you don't want to give up the game to. You know, it happens. You have to be on, it's not easy to be on like point every word you say being analyzed by every other person. It's not easy.
Yeah. So let's talk about Dot for a second. And he's kind of in a good place, but not a good place. It's kind of a hard place because Elizabeth wants to go for Meg. Meg kind of alludes that she wants to go for Elizabeth, but then agrees to go for Carrie with a C. Did Dot do the right thing in this? Because he's been playing this good social game, but he finally had to show some cards. Okay.
This one's close. You can definitely argue. You can argue it either way, that he did the right thing or the wrong thing. There are arguments for either side here. It really comes down to who Dot think. I would think Dot has to just be concerned with who he thinks benefits his long-term game better. And his choice here, I like the way Mike described that there are different levels of loyalty, because he basically showed Elizabeth, look, I'm not targeting you. I'm not trying to take you out of the game. But he kind of did show his cards that maybe he's more loyal now to Meg and Jake, because ultimately he did vote with them. So, Dot seems to be trying to make as little waves as possible, honestly. He seems to be trying to keep his connections intact with everyone as best as possible. And the best play he can do to do that is obviously Carrie, because it's the only person on that team that he doesn't have a relationship with. So I think for Dot's game, it was absolutely perfect the way it went down. Obviously Elizabeth knows he's not with her as much anymore, but does it really matter because he's with the stronger, bigger majority now.
That brings me to another question. I think last time, I don't know, I think it might maybe Days talking about where Dot falls in this hierarchy, that he might be ahead of Hassan. Is there an argument to be made, Aspen, that he might actually be below Rayleigh in this alliance? Because if they're going into the merge now, so is Dot really the person, if you're Meg and Jake, you're taken to the end, Aspen?
No, you are right. He actually might be below Rayleigh when they come back together. I mean, they saved her, like they want the cleaners to stay strong. So I feel like even if he gonna be on the bottom of that alliance, just like he is with the two of them. I think it was evident when I feel like he tried to kind of make it be a him and Jake thing, but Jake is like, no, it's me, you, and Meg or nothing. So I'm worried about Dot. Like I'm worried that he gonna fuck around and be on the wrong side of the fence. So
Ace, you're shaking your head.
I'm not 100% convinced that Rayleigh is even a cleaner anymore. Kind of looking at the preview for next week, I really feel like Rayleigh is more team Patty and Alex, and she's going to be a swing vote between the two sides. I think once this merge happens, there is a definite two sides. Even though they're merged, there's still two teams, and I think the game is going to be who can get Rayleigh to their side, Patty and Alex, or Dot, Meg, and Jake. So I'm not sure she's actually a cleaner right now.
Mike, do you think
no
that?
way.
Go ahead.
Meg even sent her a message. Meg sent her a message just saying like, like, it's good, girl. I'm saving you. We still clean and strong. Like,
She's a loyalty person though. She, law enforcement, military, and Patty saved her ass.
Yeah, but
Patty backed her up.
You can make the same argument about Dot. Like about Dot on that hierarchy now, which is why I think Dot has overtaken most of the cleaners in Meg's Mafia. I think Dot's third behind only Jake personally, because Dot made the ultimate move in Meg's eyes this week and saved her ass. And if you do that and you go out on that kind of limb and save somebody's ass in a game like this, you've earned their loyalty and you've earned their business. So I don't think Dot. I think Dot's way ahead of Rayleigh. And I think Dot is safely ahead of Hassan. And I do think Rayleigh's still a cleaner, though. I mean, it kind of depends, right? Because Rayleigh took it personally. She got sent to exile. And then it kind of depends on how she took Meg's apology. If she took it in earnest, because Meg's being honest, I was looking out for you. If she realizes that Meg was really looking out for her, then she's definitely still a cleaner. But if she's salty about it for whatever reason, which blows my mind that she doesn't understand that it was clearly intended to help her, I don't know. Then there's no helping her.
Mike, do you think Rayleigh's going to turn in her cleaner T-shirt for Alex or Patty?
I think Rayleigh now is going to owe Alex and Patty a "I will not target you" level of loyalty, but not necessarily an "I will vote with you" level of loyalty. I mean, she's probably gonna. Meg's Mafia is gonna show back up at her door, and she's gonna be, ready to join back up. And I feel like with enough, just like as long as they give her attention, basically, and say, you're still with us, we're awesome, we're good, look how many of us are still here, and it's like they do that. I don't necessarily know if Patty and Alex align themselves with Q, who they were just on another side of a vote from, and they align themselves with Q and try and go directly for Meg. I'm not sure Rayleigh's going to be a big fan of that. I don't know if they put her in a bad position. I don't know if she's going to necessarily owe them compared to her original tribe that she had a good bond with from all that we've seen.
Let's talk about Carrie with a C for a moment, Days. Originally, she wants to go to Jake and Meg and try and take out whoever they want to take out. Should they have really taken her up on that offer to get out Elizabeth, Days?
I'm torn. I think it worked out the way it should have. I honestly don't have too many opinions on it. I like the way it went.
Van, do you think there was any more Carrie with a C could have done in that spot?
Yeah, I mean, I think she tried a little bit, just more of what she was trying to do. But it was definitely more of siding with, if you know that Meg and Jake want to get Elizabeth out and you know that you're the third on that majority, I'm a personal believer as long as it's not me. So if she can 100% say, I'm 100% with y'all, let's just stick to the plan and get Elizabeth out, then yeah, she should have absolutely done that. And if Elizabeth is Meg and Jake's #1 target, then they 100% should have taken Carrie up on that offer, because Carrie's a mystery. You don't know if Carrie's targeting you. You know Elizabeth has come out and vocalized to your face that she's targeting you. So yeah, why not get that person out?
Aspen or Mike, do you think that Meg and Jake should have went behind Dot's back to get out Elizabeth, or was that too much?
no, that's too much. That's too much. they kind of need Dot, like right now. I think that they like where they at. I think it would have rocked the boat way too much because no, he ain't like having no one-on-one conversations with her, but he would have felt some type of way if they would have just switched it up for sure.
Yeah, I'll clarify. I don't think they should have blindsided Dot with that decision. I think they should have said, Dot, Elizabeth just said Meg should have been like, Elizabeth just said she's targeting me. Sorry, bro. Carrie's with us. Get on the right side of this vote.
I will say, though, that Meg and Jay conversation was the last one, and they were this close from turning their votes to Elizabeth until the very end of that conversation. Mike, had they, though, would have been a mistake because it would have been a tie vote with Dot in the middle. So, thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, I think Dot is like a made man member of the mafia now, the Meg's mafia. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like a mobster movie, but he's carried out the hit that they put in front of him, and now they know they can trust him. And it's like they're pulling him in like that. You don't, when you have a player that you have already invested resources into, you don't want to go behind their back in the moment, because like, what is Dot gonna force fire for Elizabeth? Hell no, he's gonna go with you guys. He's already in for a penny, in for a pound. They made the right decision in my opinion. Obviously with knowing, but they still made the right decision even if Carrie had voted Elizabeth. They made the right decision not to piss off Dot, in my opinion.
Something to think about, and this was a little note that I made. First off, angry people are messy people in games like this. And I think that Elizabeth is steaming. I don't know if anybody else noticed, but I believe she kind of has a tick. And when that vote came out, that tick went away. She was no longer nervous. She was just mad. You could see her respiration rate. I mean, deep breaths after the vote didn't go her way. So she is pissed off right now. And I don't think that bodes well for her. Like I said, when you're angry, you're not thinking properly. And I think it's just going to be a downfall for her in the end.
Mike seems to disagree.
Mike, you're smiling. I mean, when you're pissed off and on it by yourself, does it always work out for you in the end?
I'm definitely not disagreeing. I'm laughing at Days because he's so right. You come in with a great, fantastic, calm, rational, like, I will keep my cool. I will do this. I will say this. And then someone ticks you off. I know exactly what it's like to be in that mindset of like, this person needs to go at all costs. Dazed, you know why. You've seen me like that. After I went for Days multiple times, it's like you get pissed off at someone, you don't necessarily make the right decision. You make the decision that validates that anger. So I see what he's trying to say.
She's all alone. She's all alone and she's angry. So I think the way the vote went down went great for the rest of that team, and it really hurt her. Like when I put her down, she is way down.
Any other thoughts on Team 2 or Carrie with a C getting voted out? We will move on to Team 1.
Sorry, Carrie. Just too much in the background. You're a really nice girl. Sorry to see you go.
We will start with Team 1. We'll start with Q, who's trying to get people to see the bigger picture, that there's the cleaners. He's trying to avoid a big brother situation that happens every fucking year, where there's a big alliance and everybody else is trying to pick each other up that they don't see the big alliance in time, and then they're fucked. Aspen, do you think she did a good enough job trying to tell that to Patty and Alex?
Oh, hell yeah. Patty said he gonna die. He gonna get them out or die trying. He is gonna fucking do it. He promised his life. I take his word for it. He don't seem like the type of guy that's gonna bullshit. So, yeah. I mean, she couldn't have pitched it to a better person, like, damn. She just like Mike just said, she told him who the hit is, and now all she gotta do is sit back and he gonna take him out.
But they had the chance to, man. He had a cleaner right in front of him. His vote was the deciding vote. And what did he do? he voted out Carrie, which I get because you're angry at Carrie, or I don't know if angry is the right word that he feels, but he's like, this person has just the biggest like hatred of me for an incomprehensible reason. I just need to get them out of the game. But like,
Well, she's making him feel like JFK in the grassy knoll. So I mean, that's pretty extreme way to be feeling.
JFK.
Yeah. It was like he promises Q he's got this vengeance against all the cleaners, and then doesn't vote a cleaner at a very easy opportunity to do so. It's a bit hard to take him at his word now if you're Q.
Fan Guy Days, any thoughts on Q trying to get people to see the bigger picture, or Patty?
I think Patty is a great actor. I think he's a musician, he's an artist, he's a chef, and I think he's an actor also, probably has an Oscar we don't know about. He is really great at saying yes and letting everybody, have their say. I don't think he is going to follow through with anything he agreed with. I think he's just playing his own little game, and I'm enjoying it all. Q's message didn't get through at all.
I'm going to quote my favorite movie, Biodome. While others are thinking locally, Patty is thinking globally, which can also be applied to Q here, because she is thinking, she's viewing the chessboard from a more vertical angle than most of them are. But but is that not arguably, I mean, I'm not going to say is or isn't, but you could argue either way. Again, could that not be a detriment to her game to be that laser focused on someone that you haven't even interacted with yet? So, I mean, and she doesn't even know for sure that Meg is like the leader of the mafia. It does appear that way.
I mean, it appears that way to a lot of people because she's not that. She's pretty obvious about it, let's be honest. You guys even call your Meg's mafia.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't feel like the other side knew that as much because they haven't been exposed to it.
Elizabeth caught on to it right away too.
Yeah. Also, I just gotta say, I love the Q has never met Meg. They have yet to exchange a single word, and Q just has this deep hatred of Meg. And I don't think Meg knows she exists yet. I'm sure she will soon, but she doesn't yet. And she knows she exists, but she doesn't know what she's like. And it's so funny to me when there's one-sided rivalries and hatred in any scenario. And I can't wait to see it finally become a two-sided rivalry.
What about Alex's approach in this, Fan Guy? At first, he wants to stay back. He doesn't want to be seen as a target. But eventually he decides he needs to make the move. Why do you think that was?
Alex has played this brilliantly almost at every single step. He had to make the move this time, I think, simply because the most obvious duo on that team was Q and Carrie with a K. They were clearly the power duo and clearly controlling, really calling the shots. So I think he knew that by breaking those two up, it would create a lot more freedom for the team to have a lot more options to do a lot more things. And so I think he definitely realized he seems so strategic. He seems very analytical, and he's pretty good at seeing all the angles too. So I think this was a very calculated move, and I definitely think he did the right thing. As much as I hate to see Carrie with the K go, I definitely think, he needed to break up that duo, whether it was Q or Carrie with the K. Can be debated who should have gone or not, because I do think Q is going to be a bigger threat long term, because she seems to be a little bit more reserved and sniper-like, and Carrie seemed to be a little bit more vocal and messy, to where she would probably bring a lot more attention and fire onto herself. So I don't know, but yeah, Alex has been playing this perfectly, man. He really has. And I mean, obviously, we called it. He's going to win most of the challenges, which I also, and I think maybe Aspen or Mike. I mean, Alex was a heavy favorite on that team to win this challenge, and he did.
What are your thoughts on Alex's approach to this, getting out Carrie K?
Yeah, I mean, man, he the wonder kid, he seen opportunity, he seized it. I think it was the perfect time to get a little kill on his resume. I think he solidified some things, and he knew when the right time to take it was. You know, like she had an advantage. She could have, like it's sad. It really was sad to see her go out with her advantage. R.I.P. Country Carrie with a K. I will miss you. It was hard to watch, but man, props to Alex because I didn't think that he was gonna be able to pull it off. But yeah, he did it in the most like cool, calm, collective way, and was surprised too. Like played a little surprise. I like that.
Mike, your thoughts? You're making a face.
Yeah, I mean, acting post vote, it's like people are gonna figure it out pretty quickly. I don't see much point to that ever. He I mean, as far as the actual like merits of the move, it's not a bad one. Carrie tells like I don't think anyone's mentioned. You look back at last week, Carrie tells him vote Dee, we'll get Dee, and then where he goes, and he was blindsided. This is his revenge. He says, "Okay, I'm getting you back for this," and so he did. He got her back for it. So, and he made made some allies out of it. He got his target out. He got what he wanted. And I think that was a pretty good move, and I think he approached it the right way.
Days, any thoughts on this move you'd like to add?
No, he's playing it brilliantly. He's probably playing the best game out of everybody right now. With as good as he is at competitions, he's still not really the biggest target in the game, which means he's playing great. So just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, he pulled it off brilliantly.
I think Alex's blind spot could be his social game, Mike, that he has dots after him. He doesn't have really any friends on that team. He just pissed off Q, he pissed off Dee. He might have an alliance with Rayleigh, but there's the cleaners, so that leaves Patty. So, Mike, do you think his social game might be his blind spot at this point in the game?
It's possible. I mean, it's hard to say how like Dot was willing to toss him aside at like an exile thing. It doesn't mean that when they get back together, he's not going to take, like at a certain, I don't know if you need to get the biggest challenge threat, which is I think why Dot was ready to toss him aside was he's good at challenges, and now he's on a different tribe. That's why. And like when you don't necessarily get rid of the biggest challenge threat right at the beginning of the merge. As in like Dot might want to use him as a shield. A lot of people might. Like he's very strategic, and that can be a very big benefit, or it can be a very big downside if people are voting with their like social connections in their hearts. So it's hard to say.
I don't agree with you, Nick. I think his social game is on point. I think he's just too likable. Like I said, when you were that good at competitions, your social game has to be good to not come off as a big target. Dot's
what I mean by his social game, I don't mean that he's not likable. I mean that he's making himself a target because he is good at the challenges. He says he wants to sit back at times, but he keeps making moves that are pissing people off.
But like the dude's good at challenges, so yeah, he's gonna be a target. He's gonna be a target the rest of the game to some people for that reason alone. And there's nothing he can do socially or otherwise to change that.
No, but I think he can make up what's it called? He can do some damage control with Dee and Q. I don't think it's completely over. I think Q will use him at her own discretion if need be. Therefore, I think that if he got in there and was like, look, I just wanted to take Carrie out. She blindsided me with the last hole, like whatever. He could spin that how he do, and I don't know. I think he could do some damage control with his social game for his team to be able to have more alliances. Nick.
We'll move on to Patty, lastly, getting the last laugh against Carrie with a K, who has been after him. Any last thoughts on Patty taking out Carrie with a K?
Man, I would have waved at her as she left. I would have been like, bye-bye.
He should have had a mimosa, yo.
Off of the camera, and
Yeah.
just start drinking it when she leaves.
Oh man, that was hard. That was I know it felt good for Patty though, because like she did have some sort of like obsession with getting him out. So it feels good when somebody is like, oh God, get that little, let me brush that off my shoulder a little bit, so
I tell
he
you
did get
what,
the last laugh.
I'm siding with Dot's wife here. I am Team Patty all the way. I was looking a while ago to find out who he reminds me of, like a verbal Kent. That's who Patty kind of reminds me of, Patty Sose. So I'm a ride with him to the end. I think he's playing great. I love his entertainment value. I wanna see him at the end. I really do.
He's just had an eclectic life, man. You can tell. Like, and don't get me wrong, people like that, they often do blur the lines of reality and, fiction. Like sometimes their stories are, 60% truth, 40% fiction. So, usually most of the like hyperboles that these people are about are like somewhat based in truth, but they're larger than life. And that's what Patty strikes me as. A likable guy who's telling his real tales, but he just maybe embellishes them a little and, but look at the tattoo. This dude's a classic. This dude is a classic character. And I don't understand Carrie's like inexplicable dislike of him. Like I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I am definitely pulling for Patty. I don't know how this is going to go for him, but man, I'm pulling for Patty.
Any last thoughts on Carrie with a K getting voted out?
Yeah, I mean, I just wish that she would have used that fucking advantage. It burns me up inside. I mean, like I feel like she even kind of had some sort of inkling of a clue that Patty might be coming for her too. I mean, if you going for somebody, you ought to know that they might be coming for you too. So like, why didn't she just use it? Like it's like she forgot she had it or something.
It's a tough advantage to use. The banish advantage, right? That's what she had. She could kick someone out, right?
Yeah.
Nothing she. Oh.
And she can't kick herself out. And so it's like you're counting on Patty and Alex voting with you. And it's like you have to read that they're both voting you. You have to kick one out, and then what? You have a tie, or you hope the person just bounces back to you. It's like it was a tough read for her. I can't blame her at all for not using it. In a 5-person tribe that you feel good about, it's like you banish the one person who was with you, and you look like the world's biggest idiot.
I think they felt they literally had control of that team.
Yep.
They were both obviously in shock, blindsided with that vote, and both her and Q went into it thinking the votes were solid. They knew exactly what was going to happen. So if you're Carrie, like there was no need to use her advantage because it was going to go the way they thought it was. But I'm sad to see her go because much like Jay, she's nice to look at. So, sorry, Carrie. I hope I get to play with her though. I wanna be on a team, not even because it will work out well with me. I want to be on a team with Patty and Carrie with a K, just so I can always be in the chats with them and see the interactions.
Yeah, I'm telling you, throw Misha into that tribe.
I think we can give Patty even more props during Carrie's segment here because that made me think of something that happened during Tribal. Patty was good, man. He even played it off. He said when he asked them what we were going to do, he's like, exactly what we talked about in our conversation. And he had a conversation with both sides of that, so you got Carrie and Q thinking, well, he's talking about exactly what we talked about in our conversation. And then you got the other two going, well, he's talking about what we did in our conversation. So, man, good on you, Patty. That was very, very well articulated, well played. And but yeah, as far as Carrie goes, sad to see her go, man. How can you not love Carrie with a K? And I was blindsided. I didn't think they were going to pull that off. I legitimately didn't think they were going to pull it off.
Yeah. Yeah, it was sad to see Carrie with a K go. I mean, she was great TV. And I mean, a feud of Patty and Carrie with a K going into a merge when they might be forced to work together would have been so entertaining, and it's so sad Rob did that. But and like it's just I was also actually surprised. I think this is the first vote I've been truly surprised at. I was thinking Patty was
no.
gonna.
I wasn't with this one.
I was
Like that was the only option for Alex, Rayleigh, and Patty was to team up. Like they had to.
You're assuming that Rayleigh and Patty's head is super in the game, which, to be quite frank, they have shown zero signs that their heads are like really in the strategic elements of this game.
I called it in our podcast last week. I said Carrie was down, and I thought that those three were going to team up to take one of them out.
Well, to be technical, you said Dee Dee, not.
It's it could have gone either way. They still had to team up. They had to team up and take one of the Ronas out.
I mean, for Rayleigh, you got to team up, but like on like Patty and Alex, maybe like they have to know they're not going to be on this team forever. And I mean, I kind of get it, but it wasn't like it was probably the right decision, but also like it's a hard one, because now they really are going into a merge with like Rayleigh probably gonna run back to her team unless you're hoping she owes you.
Actually, was my next question. Do you think this, like, both these vote offs, did it really help anybody other than the Cleaners, Mike?
I think it bonded those three. I do. Yeah, I'll go back to what I said earlier. I don't think Rayleigh is a pure cleaner. I think that Alex and Patty have an in, and just got to have the conversations. Like, you get Alex and Patty in a room, and those two are smooth talking motherfuckers. Like, I don't know how they do it. So I think if those two get in a room with Rayleigh or Elizabeth or Dee Dee, they're going to get numbers on their side to go against the Cleaners. So I hope that happens.
The Cleaners would have been better off getting rid of Elizabeth over Carrie for sure for the Cleaners long-term game, because Elizabeth's going to be one of those swing votes that's definitely going to go the other way. Whereas, even as Meg said, Carrie could probably be talked into voting with them if she was assured security from the Cleaners against the other side.
I think individually the vote off of Carrie with a K benefited Patty. I'm not sure. I mean, they didn't know before the vote that Carrie with a C was gone. So I kind of understand it. It's like, I think I don't know how he was like, I mean, someone's coming for you, you get him out. Like, blatantly does not like you. There's not a lot of future there. You just get him out. Like, don't worry about tribal lines. Don't worry about whatever. You just get the person out. I think Patty really benefited from the move. And the Cleaners benefited pretty much across the board this episode from that same idea, kind of.
Aspen, any last thought on these two vote offs?
Yeah, sad to see him go. It was kind of ironic that both of the Carries got voted off in the same instance. So, yeah. No, like everybody's saying, Carrie with a C, we kind of knew she was gonna get swept under the rug. She didn't fight hard enough, and poor Carrie with a K just got the rug swept out from under. Honestly, I feel bad for Q because Carrie with a K really had her back. They really were tight, and I didn't realize how close they were. But yeah, now Q out there hung to dry. So let's see how she worked that.
We are going into the merge, and this time I'm going to end the episode. This time we're going to go through every person, how you think they're going to do in the merge, in this first round of the merge, and what you think they need to do in this first round of the merge. Now we'll start with Jake and kind of Meg. Mike made a point earlier podcast I still think rings true about the dynamics of the Cleaners. He said that Meg is the leader on the outside, and she's now being seen as a leader on the outside. And Jake kind of in the better spot because he has these little relationships. He's not the biggest target on this alliance, Mike. What do you think Jake needs to do going into this merge?
Jake just needs to be himself and be friendly. Like every time he's gotten a one-on-one with someone that we've been shown, they're just like head over heels for him. So he just is himself, doesn't make waves, doesn't excel at too many challenges that he doesn't feel like he needs to win. You know, sandbag challenges, it's a valid strategy. And then I think he's a huge threat to do really well in this merge.
His thoughts on Jake going into the merge, and what do you think he needs to do?
Same thing as Mike said. Just keep being beautiful. Keep, talking sweet to everybody, and be clutch in the competitions that you have to be clutch in, and don't win the ones that you don't need to.
It's been thoughts on Mike. I mean, thoughts on Jake. Mike. Unless you want to give thoughts on Mike.
No, my thoughts are really on Days. Like, Days, calm down, dude. Dang, dude. We know. All right. Yeah, Jake, man, he got a good shot. I think he needs to pretty much win individual immunity from here on out. He pretty much gonna have to pull out every single immunity if he don't want to be targeted. He know he a strong player. Meg will have his back, but Meg, the Mafia, they coming after Meg, like I think everybody is gonna go after Meg, so she got the real challenge if you ask me. Jake probably could use Meg as a shield. They'll come after Meg first.
Agree with that.
That guy.
Definitely like the shield statement. 100% agree with that. If I counted it right, there's 10 players left, right? In my brain, the way I broke it down, it's 5v5 coming out of this. You got the 4 cleaners and Dot, and you got the misfits on the other side. I think this next vote in particular is going to be really important. And I think call this one a hunch, Jake's fate is going to come down to a power, someone else's. I think Jake's fate will be sealed at some point in this game because someone else uses the power. I don't think Jake is in a bad spot at all right now because he's not the top target on one side. I think the 2 worst spots right now, yeah, it's not Jake. Jake's in a good spot. He just needs to keep playing well. Keep doing you, Jake. Agree with everything.
Hey, so who has an advantage besides Dot right now?
Q.
And Meg has one.
And Meg.
Okay.
Who am I forgetting?
So, Mike, it's Meg's Mafia going into this. What does Meg have to do? Because it's Meg's Mafia, but it's being seen as Meg's Mafia. So what do you think she needs to do?
Well, Meg's favorite player, according to her, is Boston Rob. She needs to be Boston Rob. She needs to say, get in line or get out. And she's sealed her strategy going forward. Now she's gonna need to keep people in line with however she needs to. I feel like she needs to roll out of fear. I think she needs to make an example of Elizabeth. I mean, if that's Elizabeth votes me, no matter what, she needs to make this example. She needs to say, this is what happens. You come for me and you miss. Don't come for me. You will miss. She just needs to solidify that.
Okay.
I couldn't agree with that more. One of the most powerful things in any of these games is you let people know if they come for you and they miss, they will leave. And so that is 100% what Meg needs to do. And I could not, Mike hit it spot on. I even love the Boston Rob reference. He, as we all know, who are fans of that show, he implements the buddy system where you're not even allowed to talk to people outside of your alliance whenever that's kind of going on. So 100% she needs to implement all this. She needs to get her soldiers in line, make sure that they are all clean or strong or whatever way they want to rebrand themselves as. They need to be 100% united, and that needs to be her take. I could not agree with Mike anymore. I agree with his assessment 1,000,000,000%. It needs to be Meg's Mafia, and she's got to crack the whip.
Do you think that would work on everybody, Aspen, like Rayleigh in particularly?
Yeah, she saved her. She owes her. and Meg knows that. Meg is gonna use it like, girl, I saved you. You could have went home. I'm telling you, like Fanga just said, man, the Meg Mafia, it's like it ain't no coming for it. They gonna be strong. So everything that both of y'all just said, get them in line, get your hoes in check, do what you gotta do, because you better make sure everybody is voting with you. And she need to be in every conversation because I mean she know Elizabeth is after her, but like, do she know how far Elizabeth gonna take that? So she need to make sure she got a few little extra ears besides just the cleaners, you know. So yeah, let's see how she can pull some people in or not basically be dethroned.
Because she has no idea how much the other side's going for her yet either. She doesn't
Right.
have any idea that she is the like has that little red sight set on her.
His thoughts on Meg's game and what she needs to do.
I think everybody said it fine. The only critique I have of Meg right now is not being so expressive when the votes are read out. I think somebody said in chat that it looked like she pooped a brick when the names were read. And that gives information to players that you thought the vote was supposed to go a certain way. So just play it a little cooler with the facial expressions because you're really giving information to everybody else that you don't need to.
What about Hassan days? He's been fairly quiet. He's really no target on him right now. I think Jake might be in the best spot, but it could be Hassan who's in the best spot in the cleaners if he just doesn't have a target on his back days.
I think Hassan is at the bottom of the cleaners, and I think that Rayleigh and Elizabeth are going to be swayed back and forth. So if it comes down to it, Hassan's not in a great position, and if somebody does get voted out, it will probably be him. He needs to speak up more. I think Aspen hit on this earlier. He needs to stop riding the middle so hard and make it his opinion known, or else he's gonna get lost in the back and he's gonna be an easy boot.
Aspen, anything to add on Hassan?
Yep, exactly what Dave said. He gonna get swept under the rug. He gonna be sitting up here looking like Carrie with a C. Gonna be looking like Ori. R.I.P. to them. But hey, you know, like you gotta come to play because everybody else ain't coming to play. So like, if you ain't ready to like come swinging, then you might as well sit your ass down.
Bang, thoughts on Hassan?
I mean, I kind of said this even earlier in the season. You know, I was worried about kind of losing him in the mix of everything, and it's kind of happening. He's buried at the bottom of that alliance. He doesn't seem to. He kind of talks a bigger game than I think he's going to show because he kind of talks like he's, you know, sees the big moves or he realizes he kind of wants to be part of big moves. But I just think he's going to stay with the cleaners till he gets picked off maybe by the cleaners when they have to start getting rid of their own.
Mike?
I think, Hassan was one of the people I picked out right from the beginning as a person to look out for. As I thought he was, and it's like I still think he's in a good spot. As in, like, the cleaners stick together if they prevail, if Meg's Mafia takes charge. Assuming that the royalty of Meg and Jake aren't willing to sacrifice him early on, when it gets getting down to brass tacks, he'll be the one, I think, to maybe survive like the French Revolution of the game, where like they go for Meg and Jake. I don't think they're going to go for Hassan in the same way because he just isn't in that like commanding presence in the chats and on the server. So I think he's got a lot of potential. I think he just sticks with the cleaners and kind of gets ready for the late game, which is not very exciting, but getting far. I mean, it could be very successful.
Aspen, what about Patty? What does Patty need to do? Carry the K's out of the game now, so he has that off of his back. So what do you think he needs to do going forward? Oh, you're muted.
That he should try to really solidify something with Didi. They hadn't really said that they are working together, and they haven't really got a chance to vote together. So I think if he can solidify and commit to a couple of alliances, one with Didi, one with Alex for sure, one with Rayleigh maybe, since we might think that she is going to be a swing vote. I think he gotta get more out there, he gotta insert himself into things so he can be on the right side. But I think he ready to play the game, him flipping showed that he is ready to, he paying attention, his head in the game, like Fan Guy said.
Fan Guy, what does him and his essential oils need to do in the merge?
I think Aspen hit on a lot there. It seems to me that the only really good relationship he has right now really is Didi. And so I think he needs to start there and try to start getting a little click together, starting with Didi, and maybe try to get in Alex and Rayleigh and maybe Q. I mean, that's how I see the five. It's like those five against the other five. So he needs to get aboard with that five. The problem is, do they know how tight is Dot? How tight Dot is in with cleaners right now? Do they realize that Dot is the honorary cleaner and that the numbers are 5-5? Patty showed that his head's in the game. And his primary enemy is gone, but he also doesn't have a ton of connections. Like I said, I feel like the only connection he has is with Didi. So Patty just needs to make more friends and keep telling his wonderful tales and adventures. And some people are going to come around to that. Show off that tattoo a lot every chance you get.
That's the one.
Every chance you get.
Mike?
Patty needs to stop saying, I'm okay with getting voted out. Just stop saying that. I understand it in the team phrase, but if I hear that sentence one time out of his mouth in the merge, like, come on, Patty. Don't give anyone a reason to turn it on you at all. Just don't. Like, he's a likable guy. I mean, he just has to be himself. He just needs to be himself. He needs to come out of his shell, and he needs to stop saying, I'm just here to have a good time. You guys can vote me out, whatever. No. Play to win. Play hard, and he'll be okay.
Days. You're rooting for Patty. What does he need to do?
I think there is more to Patty than he is showing. There's already a lot there, but I think there's even more, especially when it comes to strategy. At this point, I think he needs to be the bridge between Alex and Didi. I think that is his first step, because he is in good with Didi, and I think he has the ability to speak well with Alex. I think they get along fine. Build that bridge, bring those two together, and that's a strong three right there. Now start building onto it and, get some numbers behind you.
Next up, Fan Guy will go with Didi. She's coming back from exile, so she doesn't even know what happened. So she's going into the merge a little blind. What does she need to do?
She needs to not be emotional about the last vote. Her and Carrie with a K weren't super tight, but they were tight enough to have a voting block the last few votes. So she needs to not be emotional about what just happened, because we saw how she was emotional about Alex voting her out. And if she's emotional about this vote, it's really going to let the cleaners dominate the game, because she's a needed number on the other side. They need her. And if she feels alienated from that side and causes a huge fracture, they really will just get picked off. So she just needs to be not emotional, put on her strategic hat, and do what needs to be done, and just put her emotion aside for a bit.
Yeah.
Aspen, any other thoughts on Didi?
Yeah, like he said, I mean, Lord forbid she finds out Alex had anything to do with this blind side. I think she will get emotional. It sucks, but yeah, I could see that working out very bad. Fan Guy said they might fracture, and he's right. That is the numbers for them. So, if she can contain her emotions and in a good way, because she said she wanted to let the beast out. So, I mean, if the beast means something else, then she might be in a good place. But I want to see what's that monster inside of her ready to come out. Let's see what she does with that.
Dave's thoughts on Dee Dee in the merge.
I think she's going to get left behind going forward. I think Q's going to sick her claws into her and have Dee Dee kind of do some of the dirty bidding against Meg. I don't know what to say about Dee Dee. Like I said, she's going to get lost going forward here. I think Patty needs to talk to her. I think Dee Dee needs to talk to Alex. There's a lot of communication that has to happen before they can even move forward. That whole team as a whole.
Mike, what does Dee Dee need to do?
I don't know. It's like I said when I put Dee Dee up. I think it was last week. It's like I don't know how she does it, but she keeps getting favorable outcomes for her. So it's kind of like I don't know how she's gonna do in a group of like 10 people when it seems like she won't commit to alliances. I am fearful of her like in a big merge like this, where like people are gonna be like, let's work together, and Dee Dee's gonna like leave it on read. It's like I don't really see that working out so well right now. So I'm not super high on Dee Dee heading into the merge, but you know, if anyone can prove everyone wrong, it's gonna be Dee Dee.
Dazed, what about Riley? You said she could be a flip from the cleaners. Is that her best move going into the merge?
I think so, because she's not in that top 3, which means she's the easiest to let go out of all of them. She doesn't have the same protections. So I think she could be easily swayed to the other side. I think she already has that tie-in with Patty, and I just think she's in a swing vote situation where it could go either way. And I think you just ride that. You play it, because if you're the swing vote, you're not the one that's at the risk of going home. So I don't know if she's in a good position or a bad position. I really don't know at this point.
Mike, where do you think Riley stands going into the merge?
Well, I think she's in a good position simply from the fact that both sides are going to want her to join them. And that's usually, as long as she doesn't pull a Sarah Lucina from Cagayan and be all like pissing people off on both sides. I think she's going to make her intentions clear pretty quickly. She doesn't seem like the kind to like bullshit and hem and haw. I think she'll pick a side, whether that be the Alex and Patty coalition, or she'll go right back to her original tribe. I kind of lean that she's going to run right back to the cleaners. I hope I'm wrong from like a good TV standpoint, but she was really, really invested in them before the swap, and I don't see why that would necessarily change.
Aspen, you're shaking your head. Thoughts on Riley?
Yeah, she gonna go right back to the cleaners. She gonna come back with shirts. They gonna have cleaners 2.0 on them, and they even gonna give Dot one. So yeah, I think she gonna run back to him. I don't think she gonna really hold out for that Alex Patty alliance. I don't see that working out for her, but I do think she gonna get left behind. She in a bad spot. She in a bad spot when it come to them, because she got to compete with Dot and Hassan for that 3rd spot, which we all know she's not gonna get. So sucks to suck.
Well, Fanga, I still contend that Riley is the best person to take to the end of your record, Jake, because I mean, she doesn't have any friends who are going to vote for her. So, Fanga, where do you think Riley stands?
I agree with you and every single one of my cohorts for different reasons. I agree with Days that she's not at the top of the cleaners. However, I don't think she's at the top of the other side either. So I think for her, it comes down to which side do I trust more, which side is going to protect me more, and even if I'm 4th or 5th in line, which side is going to at least protect me till 4 or 5. And I think 100% that is the cleaners. She is going to go back to the cleaners. It is the right move for her to go back to the cleaners. She doesn't have a lot of out of the park moves she can make, in my opinion, at this point in time, because so many other people have their number 1s and number 2s kind of already established. So she's gonna have to walk the razor's edge for the remainder of this game. I think she's always going to be constantly at the bottom of every totem pole. She's the only way she gets deep into this game is if she's just at the bottom of the cleaners and they start picking off the pecking order from the top, which does often happen. So, if people start targeting Meg and then Jake, and then over here they're targeting, the big names like Alex and Q. Well, yeah, if that kind of gunfire happens, then yeah, Rayleigh will just kind of coast to the end. And she's absolutely, and I agree with you, Nick, 100%. She's 100% who I'd want to sit next to. You'd be like, she talks about animals.
Go.
Does she have the mentality to, to play the GOAT role and just get drugged to the end? Like, does she even know that's possible?
I don't think she knows it's possible, but I think that's exactly what could happen. I mean, I don't think she's going to realize what's happening as it's happening, but yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, she'll go. Just call it like it is. We might as well call her the GOAT from this point on. Not the GOAT, but a GOAT.
So Alex just made a great power play if they're staying a team, because then he's in power. But unfortunately for Alex, they're going into a merge now. Fanguy, what does Alex need to do going into this merge?
He needs to round up those troops on that side. He needs to get on the same page as Q immediately, because those are the two who seem to be leading the charge on the other side. And he's going to need to get on the same page with Q immediately and round up every non-cleaner in the game to go against the cleaners. And he's going to have to like spearhead that assault alongside Q. So that's what he's going to have to do. And he's going to have to keep winning, because, the same way Meg looks like a big target, now the merge is there. Dot's going to have a little bit more of a voice in things. Alex is also going to be a big target strictly on his competition prowess. So he's going to have to keep winning, and he's going to have to, get some people behind him.
Mike, what do you think Alex needs to do? And do you think Q can work it out quickly in the merge, seeing as she just lost her biggest ally?
I pretty much agree with everything Fanguy says. Like, he needs to get on the same page as Q. It's like, I got my revenge on Carry with a K. Now it's bye cleaners. Like, I'm with you, whether he is or isn't. That's what he needs to say. And then make his decision from there. He needs to try and reconnect with his old done teammates as well.
Do you think the old dumb teammates can reconnect at the merge?
I agree with everybody else here. He's got to put a team together, because I don't think he's one that can kind of sit back and not win competitions. I think even if he doesn't try, just the way he thinks he's going to accidentally win, and if he doesn't have the numbers, the cleaners are going to, take their shot at him. So he's got to get as many people behind him as he can. Otherwise, he might be going sooner than I want him to, at least.
Spin thoughts on what Alex needs to do at the merge.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's getting team done back together, because it pretty much is. I mean, he might could get team one back together, no D, because Dot he ain't going for it. I don't think Dot would even consider working with him again. So his only hope is no Ori, no Nisha, Elizabeth. Yeah. So I mean, which it's gonna be easy to get her to go against the cleaners. She already is going against the cleaners. So I just don't see him bringing Dot back in. It sucks, but I wish that they would be a power couple again, but I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Q just lost her biggest ally, Aspen. She wants to go after Meg and the cleaners. She's been trying to tell people, will people listen to her now that it's the merge, Aspen?
Yeah, they're gonna have to, because people will start seeing it for themselves. But Q is in a weird spot, so I think she knows how to do it, but she got to get her a GOAT. And I doubt it'll be the GOAT that we just mentioned, but she need to find her a GOAT to be able to carry out her orders. I forgot who we said could do that earlier. I think Dave said something about it, but I don't know. She in a bad spot. I'm gonna tell you that for sure.
And guy, what do you think Q needs to do at the merge?
Q needs to become everything she hates and pull a Meg and unite a side of people together against the other tyrant. She needs to kind of do exactly all the things she doesn't like seeing Meg do. As weird as that sounds, because that's in a lot of ways the only way you can combat a big old alliance like that. Q's obviously going to have to pull out some wins, and kind of just the same piggybacking on what we said about Alex to a similar degree, actually. She's just got to unite, be willing to reconcile and go after Meg. And I think absolutely people are going to look at Meg once the merge starts. I think it's not even because Q's painting this target, but it is. Like, there's a psychological principle where, like, a lot of people are going to be happy to see any target that isn't them. That's just how we work. So if someone paints somebody as a huge target, okay, yeah, I'll go after them. It's not me, and it's not one of my close friends. So assuming that, she's not going to get cleaners to vote for Meg, but yeah, Q can absolutely rally everyone who's not a cleaner or Dot against Meg immediately. I can definitely see that happen.
Days, can these non-cleaners rally together, and what does Q need to do?
So when she watches this as it airs, I can already see her typing out on the side in the chat, Days just wanted to talk, but she needs to stop obsessing over Meg. I think that's going to be her downfall. Maybe plant some seeds and let others do the dirty work. But if she goes full steam ahead against Meg, Meg's going to come right back at her even harder, and Meg has the numbers. So if she's going to go after Meg, she has to do it quietly and behind the scenes to where Meg and the cleaners can't see it.
Mike, what do you think Q needs to do at the merge?
Well, she just got blindsided by her tribe. She hates someone with a passion that she's never met on the other tribe. Things are not looking awesome for her at the moment. She needs to convince people of her goal, which is to get out Meg. She just simply needs to be a very convincing person at the merge. And she's going to, like it or not, probably become the de facto leader / poster child of that get out Meg movement alongside Elizabeth, who's already tried it. Like, she's going to have to become that rallying force, and she needs to succeed early on. Like, this is not a sustainable war path, if you don't start getting victories and getting cleaners out, she's going to be in hot water.
Next will be Dot. Fan Guy, what does Dot need to do at the merge? He's shown some cards, as he's going to have to show more now that it's the merge.
Yeah, I think Dot's actually, he has. I think he's shown he's with Meg and Jake 100% with his vote. He did, as Mike even said earlier, he did show he wasn't willing to vote Elizabeth out, but I think ultimately he showed where his cards were. He's a cleaner. You might as well just chalk him up to the cleaner side now. And I think Dot's in a fantastic position because I think he's so likable, and I think he's well liked on both sides, even by the people who aren't necessarily wanting to work with him. Because, like Alex and Dot, there's a little friction there, but I actually think they kind of like each other, even though they may kind of want to target each other in the game. So I think Dot's just a likable dude. He just needs to continue doing that and continue kind of riding it out. Let Meg and Jake be the bigger targets on the cleaner side. Just kind of chill. Just do his thing. He's picked a side. He'll ride with that side. And he just kind of got to, see how the chips fall.
Days, what does Dot need to do?
Well, I think Fan Guy said it good. Just keep doing what you're doing. He's in a good spot. But I will say, as a poker player, I do look for tells in other people. And his hands on his head is one of his tells when he is not telling the truth or doesn't want to commit to a stance on something. He needs to cut that out. But other than that, just keep doing what you're doing, laying low and being enjoyable as a person.
Mike, thoughts on Dot? Someone said earlier that Elizabeth was mad at the end of the last tribal. Do you think that was that Dot, Mike?
Yeah. If you're counting on Dot and he doesn't vote with you, can't be a great feeling. I think Dot needs to actually not stick with the cleaners. I think he needs to do a pendulum thing alongside maybe Alex or something. Like, he needs to pick off someone from this team one big group of people, they need to come back and get rid of a cleaner. Maybe not in that order. He needs to keep going back and forth because they're not going to probably team up on you. I mean, that's obviously very ambitious and unlikely to happen, but that's what I'd like to see him do because he's always going to be a huge threat. So what you need is people who do not like each other in the game batting heads, and you need to play them against each other as long as you possibly can. I think that's the best path forward for him, but you could also just use Meg and Jake as shields and hope that they prevail.
You seem to agree.
Yeah, hell yeah. Mike said it best. He couldn't have said it better. Absolutely. I never even thought about that. But like, yeah, pick one person off on this side, switch it up, go back to this side. I think he in a perfect position to play that little swingy role. And yeah, he need to have a little swing relationship going on with a couple of different people. So I like that idea, Mike.
Now, lastly, Mike, if Elizabeth stays on team 2, she's fucked because she's probably the next person going out. Does she get a little break going into the merge, Mike? And what does she have to do?
I mean, yeah, it's almost like she was probably the next person out on our tribe. Swap happens. Definitely the next person out on her tribe. Merge happens. It's like she keeps getting these breaks. She needs to find friends and find an alliance. That's what she needs. She needs people who are going to look out for her back. And like, I like Elizabeth a lot. She's very entertaining, but it's like it's not looking good for her, honestly. It's just it's not. She's got the cards stacked against her. She has just pissed off a big group of people by going for their beloved leader, and she doesn't necessarily have that number one person she can rely on. And it's like she's got to make a BFF. Like she's got to find out someone on the other tribe is related to her or something. I don't know. She's got to like luck out, basically.
There's someone related to her. All she has to do is end up in a chat with Q and say Meg, and they are long lost siblings right there. Done. Best piece of life.
Ooh, that's the perfect combo to go after Meg. If that they would come together for the hate of Meg. Yeah. Man, I could see that, but I don't know. Elizabeth is in a weird spot, but I think that she wanna make the move. So like she is willing to do it. Let's see if she can get some numbers together. Yeah, I hope the best for her, but I don't know. I think who said earlier that it's like once you come after Meg and it's like you miss your shot, she's basically, I feel like Meg is about to come after her ass, and Meg ain't gonna miss. That Meg Mafia strong. They got precision, accuracy. They got all the best, newest technology, whatever.
What does Elizabeth need to do to avoid that Mafia?
I think Elizabeth should join Patty for a hike up on the mountain. They seem to have that in common, enjoy some essential oils. It seemed to work out for him. He's in a better position. So, chat with Patty. He, gained some of his knowledge. I think it could benefit her. But honestly, I think whoever said she needs to join up with Q, I know I said that Q needs to stop obsessing over Meg, but if you have another person that wants to obsess with you, that's a number in your corner. So, I mean, maybe that's what needs to happen. It's not looking good for Elizabeth. She's on her way out the door, but if there are moves, I don't know what they are. I don't know which way she goes, honestly.
Van Guy, any last thoughts on Elizabeth?
Nah, I mean, it's all been covered. She was very fortunate the merge happened right now. She has a chance now. Whereas realistically before, she wasn't 100% going to be the next person out on that team. So I think the merge was great for her. I think her only chance is to link up with the only person who shares the same vision of dislike. And that's Q. So those two have to link up and quick.
Lastly, any last predictions anybody wants to make before we end this?
I'll pick who I think goes home next week. I think it's going to be Didi or Hassan, one or the other.
Are you providing any spoilers on what is the competition?
Oh yeah. What's the game?
Competition is trivia. Who do you think is going to win trivia?
Ooh. Like what kind of trivia? Just
Alex.
regular bar trivia?
It's some rough trivia. You got history, you got sports, then you got some pro wrestling in there, so you know.
And everybody's playing for themselves, right? It's not teams.
Yeah.
How many immunities? 1? Ooh, Alex got it.
Mm.
It's an easy pick to make Alex. I mean, Alex he's going to get the odds on most of these competitions.
You know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb again and say Patty, because Patty is well-rounded, knows basically everything in the world. He has to be good at
That's
trivia,
true.
right? So
That's
Yep. I say Q.
I'm going to say Q too. I can't even believe I'm going to go with Mike on this. Q's just sharp. Q just strikes me as extremely sharp. And when it comes to trivia,
Well, if that's all I have, unless someone wants to make any last prediction.
what about it? Is there still Exile?
There is one more round of Exile.
So winner gets to choose who goes.
Oh, no rocks, boo.
Mike just loves some rocks.
I love rocks.
wow, that could make things really interesting with the numbers.
yeah.
I think this week's going to come down to how well the 5 unite against the cleaners. That's going to be the theme of the next episode is can the 5 non-cleaners unite against the cleaners? Because if
The
they
cleaners versus everybody else, pretty
it's
much.
5 on 5. Yeah.
All right, well, that's all I have this week. The merge should be an interesting war.
Is this the pinnacle of juiciness we're fixing to see next week? You said it was a 3-episode.
Yeah, I think these are the
Chaos
three
series.
biggest clusterfuck episodes anyway. Chaos. So yes, this is the pinnacle of chaos.
Okay.
I'm ready to see some powers come out.
Right.
All right, I want to thank you for joining me.